Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And if you're new here, I'm glad you found us because today we've got some absolutely massive news coming out of South Africa that could impact millions of households, particularly our seniors. This is one of the biggest financial developments we've seen in months, and it's catching a lot of attention both in local communities and across financial sectors. So sit tight because this is the kind of news that can truly shift the daily realities for so many people. We're talking about the brand new 1,200 Rand bonus that has just been announced as part of a broader SASSA Mid-Year Relief Package aimed squarely at seniors and vulnerable citizens. If you or someone you know is over the age of 60 and receiving assistance from the South African Social Security Agency, this is something you'll want to pay very close attention to. Now let's get into what exactly is happening. The South African government, responding to increased public pressure and the undeniable cost of living crisis, has officially unveiled a mid-year support plan through SASSA. At the heart of this initiative is a one-time 1,200 bonus payout that will be distributed to qualifying senior citizens. But what makes this bonus so impactful is not just the amount, it's the timing and what it symbolizes. With grocery prices, electricity tariffs, transportation fees, and even basic household items continuing to climb, many seniors have found themselves barely scraping by. Despite receiving regular social grants, this 1,200 Rand is not just a gesture, it's a lifeline. This mid-year relief package, as it's being called, is being rolled out as a strategic intervention to ease financial pressure on vulnerable groups as South Africa navigates turbulent economic waters. The government says it recognizes that inflation hasn't just taken a toll on the working class, but has been especially devastating to retirees and elderly citizens living on fixed incomes. This new payment is intended to directly confront those challenges, and for many, it could not come at a better time. Let's talk eligibility, because this is where the rubber really meets the road. The 1,200 bonus is being earmarked specifically for seniors who are currently receiving the Older Persons Grant through SASSA. That includes individuals aged 60 and above who meet the standard income and asset thresholds set by the agency. Importantly, there is no need to reapply or fill out any new documentation if you're already receiving your monthly grant. According to SASSA officials, the bonus will be automatically deposited into recipients' accounts in a separate transaction, so no one should have to jump through any bureaucratic hoops to get it. And while this news has been met with overwhelming support, it's also raised a lot of questions. Will this become a regular occurrence? Is this a one-time thing, or the beginning of a more sustained support strategy for the elderly? According to early government reports, the 1,200 payment is a standalone bonus for now, but officials are not ruling out the possibility of expanding similar support measures in the near future. What's clear is that the government is watching the economic conditions closely, and more relief packages could follow depending on the circumstances. Another point of interest here is how this bonus fits into the broader economic recovery plan. South Africa, like many countries around the world, is still rebounding from the economic devastation brought on by the pandemic, coupled with inflation spikes and global instability. This mid-year package isn't just a social good. It's a calculated move designed to stimulate spending at the community level. By putting more money directly into the hands of consumers, particularly those most likely to spend it immediately on essentials, the government is trying to inject momentum back into local economies. In essence, it's a form of micro-stimulus. Now, let's be clear. 1,200 might not sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, especially when you consider how far it needs to stretch. But when you're living on 2,180 or less per month, an extra 1,200 is more than half your monthly income. That's grocery money for several weeks. That's transport fees to visit a clinic, or finally catching up on a utility bill that's been hanging over your head. It can mean the difference between just surviving and finally having a bit of breathing room. That's why the announcement has been so widely celebrated, particularly among advocacy groups and NGOs that work with the elderly. We've also been hearing from people on the ground, real voices, real stories. One grandmother in KwaZulu-Natal said she plans to use the bonus to buy a small gas heater to prepare for the winter months ahead. Another pensioner in the Eastern Cape said the money would go toward school supplies for her grandchildren, who she helps support. These kinds of testimonials are pouring in, and they underscore the impact that even a modest bonus can have on households that are juggling multiple responsibilities with limited resources. Of course, with any major announcement like this, there are always logistical concerns. When exactly will the money be delivered? Will the system be able to handle the surge in transactions? SASSA has tried to get ahead of these concerns by rolling out a phased payment plan. Officials have stated that the R1,200 bonus will begin hitting accounts in the second week of May, with staggered deposits continuing through the end of the month to avoid overwhelming the banking infrastructure. They've also increased customer service staffing to deal with the anticipated surge in inquiries and are urging recipients to avoid visiting physical offices unless absolutely necessary. We've also been tracking the political response to this announcement, and it's been quite interesting. On one hand, ruling party officials are touting the package as evidence of their commitment to social justice and economic inclusion. On the other, opposition parties are saying it's too little, too late, and are calling for a permanent increase in the older person's grant. They argue that South Africa's elderly have been bearing the brunt of economic hardship for too long, and that short-term bonuses, while helpful, do not address the systemic issues that continue to affect this demographic. But the government has responded by suggesting this bonus is only part of a larger plan. In fact, we're hearing whispers of potential changes coming in the October medium-term budget policy statement, where officials might propose permanent increases to social grants across the board. There's also talk of expanding food voucher programs and offering targeted subsidies for electricity and water bills, two of the biggest monthly expenses for many older South Africans. Let's also take a moment to talk about the ripple effects. This isn't just about individual beneficiaries. This has implications for families and communities as well. In many cases, elderly grant recipients are supporting not just themselves, but also children and grandchildren. The so-called granny economy plays a vital role in South African households, particularly in rural and peri-urban areas. These R1,200 payments aren't going to sit in savings accounts. They're going to be spent, shared, and used to meet basic needs. And that kind of grassroots stimulus can help support spaza shops, clinics, taxi drivers, and countless other sectors that rely on local consumption. We've also heard concerns about fraud and misappropriation, especially given SASSA's history of payment glitches and service delivery issues. But this time around, the agency says they've put additional safeguards in place. Every transaction will be logged and traceable, and third-party vendors handling cash distributions are under strict compliance agreements. So far, everything seems to be proceeding smoothly, but as always, we'll be monitoring the situation closely and will keep you updated on any hiccups. Another angle that's worth discussing is how this mid-year package compares to similar initiatives in other countries. In many parts of the world, governments are stepping up with direct cash transfers, food aid, and utility subsidies to help citizens weather economic storms. What's unique about South Africa's approach is the targeted nature of the support. It's aimed not just at the broad population, but specifically at those who are most vulnerable. And that level of precision can make all the difference in terms of effectiveness. And of course, we can't ignore the role of advocacy. Civil society groups, trade unions, and senior citizen coalitions have been lobbying for relief for months. This bonus payment is, in many ways, a victory for that grassroots pressure. It's a reminder that collective action works and that raising your voice, whether through petitions, marches, or parliamentary submissions, can lead to real change. So if you've been part of that movement, take a moment to celebrate. This is your win too. Looking forward, the big question is, what's next? Well, we've heard unconfirmed reports that the Department of Social Development is exploring the feasibility of introducing a recurring quarterly top-up for the older person's grant, similar to what was implemented during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's also speculation that the SRD grant might see an increase later this year, and that child support grants could be adjusted to account for inflation. Nothing is set in stone yet, but the fact that these conversations are happening at the highest levels of government is very encouraging. At the same time, we can't ignore the broader economic context. South Africa is still grappling with high unemployment, energy instability, and fiscal constraints. Any increase in social spending has to be balanced against the need for long-term economic sustainability. That's why this 1,200 Rand bonus is so significant. It's a meaningful gesture that doesn't blow a hole in the budget, but still delivers real relief to those who need it most. For those wondering how to make the most of the bonus, financial experts are recommending a few smart strategies. First, prioritize essentials. Groceries, medicine, and utility bills should come first. If you're behind on rent or owe money to a local loan shark, use this opportunity to clear some of that debt. And if possible, try to put aside a small portion, even just 100 Rand or 200 Rand, for emergencies. We know that's easier said than done, but even a small cushion can make a big difference down the line. And finally, if you're one of the millions of South Africans who will benefit from this bonus, we encourage you to stay informed. Scams always spike when there's money involved, and there are already reports of fake messages and fraudulent phone calls circulating. SASSA will never ask for your PIN, banking details, or ID number over the phone. If in doubt, contact your nearest SASSA office or check their official website and social media channels. So there you have it. South Africa's seniors are getting a much-needed boost with a 1,200 Rand bonus, part of a broader mid-year relief package that could be a sign of more good things to come. It's a step in the right direction, and while it may not solve every problem, it represents a powerful acknowledgement of the role that our elders play in holding this country together. If you found this video helpful or know someone who could benefit from this information, please share it with them. Let's spread the word and make sure no one misses out on the support they deserve. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more updates, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a breaking news update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and take care.